Here, just so today is the first class of June, right? And we are going to finish our unit today, probably, right? Unit 10. We will try to, if not, next class for sure. So the pages we are about to do are 76, 77, 78, and 79. All right. And I'd like to know if you had a chance to do your homework, if you have any questions. I'm still waiting for the answer key to the workbook. I don't have it because here, as I'm working from home, I don't have access to the material, to the teacher's book or any other material related to our classes. So I asked the course to send me the key, but I don't know, I don't have it. They haven't done it so far. So I still don't have the key to the homework. I mean, the workbook. Okay. So have you tried to do your work, your homework? Have you tried to do the assignments? Even though we don't have the key here, we can correct if you want. If you have been doing your exercises, we can check it out together and see if you have any questions. Okay, so let's see here. What did I give you last class? Let me take you there just so you know. Okay, guys, I usually don't correct homework from the workbook in class because all my classes, they usually have the answer key so they can self-correct. Okay, in the beginning of the course, I usually send my students the answer key to the workbook. And since I wasn't with you guys from the beginning, I thought maybe your teacher had provided the keys to the workbook. So, and then when we started, I was already away from the school. I was working from home. So I didn't have access to the material, to the teacher's book, because that's where we get the answer key. Okay, guys. So the only way I can help you is by asking them to send me. They have to scan and send me. I got the answer key for Headway 3, but I haven't received the answer keys for Headway 4. Okay, so that's why you don't have the answers. I will try to ask them again and let's see if they send me. Okay, guys. So the homework from last class was pages 59, 60, and 62, already from unit 10, about modal verbs of probability. Okay, that's the focus of this unit. Okay, we started by checking the modal verbs, right? For example, must, and then the ones in the middle, can, could, may or might, and then the ones in the negative, can't and couldn't, but using the past to talk about situations in the past. Okay, that's the main idea of this lesson. So first they introduced modals of probability, and then they took us to the next level, probability in the past. Okay, like speculating about the past, actually. Okay. Hi, Nathan. Good morning. So, did you have a chance to do your homework, or at least did you try to do it? No? Okay, no problem, guys. As soon as I have the answer,
Teacher, I try
send
to
you.
do. I do. I think all the page
Mm-hmm.
6, 62.
Oh, great.
And the others I do only some exercises.
Okay, all right. Only some exercises. Okay, Danilo, very good. Keep doing, okay, guys, and I will try to get the answer key as soon as possible. Okay, I'll ask them again. All right, let's move on to our post for today. Okay, this is our post for today for those of you who just arrived. Here we are doing these pages, right? 76 to 79. It's still the same topic, but with more practice. Modals of probability in the past. Okay, we will see expressions with modals, and if time allows, we will do the reading. Okay. All right, guys, here I have some extra material for you about the topic. So if you have your books, open your books to page 76. Okay, let's go there now. Yes, here we are. All right, people. So if you have the book, please open your books to page 76, where you have the picture of a father holding his son on his shoulders. What are they doing there? Look, how interesting. Okay, so let's take a look there. Before we start, I'd like to take a first picture. So let me do that just in case somebody crashes. And so let me take the first picture here. All right, let me save that picture just a second. Sorry, I'm totally muted. Okay, so can you see the first exercise? Yes. So I've already opened the answers to this exercise because then we can go faster, and it's not so hard, it's not so difficult, it's just for you to understand better how to use modal verbs in the past instead of spending a long time doing the exercise itself. Okay, so let's take a look at the first one together. Somebody says, sorry I'm late, I had to go to the post office. Okay, the first one here doesn't make any sense. So the first modal verb that we are seeing here is have to in the past. Okay, so we can use have to in the present, in the past, and also in the future with all the other subdivisions, right? Present perfect, present perfect continuous, whatever. Okay, anyway, here it's the simple past, right? So I had to go to the post office. It was an obligation. The next one, I looked for Pearl, but I couldn't find her. Normally, simple past. All right, people. Here, that doesn't make sense. Couldn't have, I only use, guys, when I want to give an idea of something that I don't believe something happened or something was possible. Here, it's not the idea. The idea is I really couldn't find her. Okay, that's why this one is the correct one. Here, I know where Paul is. He had to go or he must have gone home early. When you say that you don't know where somebody is, You complement with a comment, like you are not really sure what happened, and then you start speculating about the past. So when you speculate, you should use a modal verb plus the auxiliary verb have. So here, he must have gone home early. This is just a speculation, sorry, because I don't know where he is. So he must have gone home early. If he's not here and I know him, he doesn't go anywhere. It's here, home, home, here. So if he's not here, then he must have gone home early. All right. So of course there is a context, and so that's why you can use that. Speculating about the past. Before we see the other ones, so I wanted to introduce the first three examples here so you know what we are talking about. I want to show you a small image about verbs to speculate about the past. Verbs that we use, or modal verbs that we use in the past, situations that are already over. Let's take a look here. First of all, let me try to share. Okay, I hope you can see that.
Teacher,
Yes, Danilo.
what is the page that you are?
Oh, honey, it's page 76. Let me show
Oh,
you the page again. Okay,
okay.
the first page, page 76, if you have the book. All right, now I will
Okay.
show you, yes, now I will show you something that is not in your book. It's just an image about the topic, okay? And I will share that with you. Okay, can you see that? Yes?
Yes.
Good. So let me try to make it a little bigger. Okay. I hope I hope it helps. Just a second. Here we have the modal verbs that we use when we are talking about past situations. Many different ideas here. The first one, must have. How do I use that, guys? We use must have plus the past participle when we want to make a deduction about something that has happened. We feel quite sure about it, okay? Example, if you can't find your car keys, you must have left them in the house. So that's a conclusion I get. If they are not here, if they are not in your pockets, then you must have left them in the house. Okay, everyone? Yes? So it's a deduction about something that happened in the past. What happened? You lost your car keys. This is the fact. You lost your car keys. Now, my comment about it is my speculation. So if I am almost sure what happened, what caused the loss of your keys, then I speculate using a modal verb. If I'm very certain, I'm really sure about it, I'm almost sure, because if I'm speculating, I'm not 100% sure, but let's say I'm almost sure, like almost 100% sure, then I use must, okay? Like here, you must have left them in the house. On the other hand, when I say can't have, I'm talking about something that I don't believe was possible. Okay? Example. Here we use can't have plus past participle. Example. We are making a deduction about something that didn't happen in the past based on present evidence. He can't have fallen in love with her. She's married. Of course, guys, this definition is not very accurate because maybe it's possible, but I don't believe What I'm showing here when I use can't have is that I don't believe that happened. I don't believe it. It's impossible. Here, he can't have fallen in love with her. She's married, right? So it's like, come on, that's a disaster. He can't have done that, all right? But it's not to say that it didn't happen, like they are supposing here, okay? Should have, I also use with past participle. We use it to express the idea that something was desirable or needed, but unfortunately didn't take place, didn't happen. Example, I should have called you yesterday, but I forgot. I'm really sorry. Or when I say in the negative, shouldn't have, it goes like that. Something took place, but it wasn't desirable. So you say, you shouldn't have drunk so much. Now you feel terrible. So I'm giving an advice. I'm saying that that was not the right thing to do. You should have done something different. You shouldn't have drunk so much. Okay, that's the idea. Now here, might. Oh, let's take a look at the other one here next to should. Needn't have. This is also very nice. Even though it's not in our book, it's interesting for you to know. We can also use that. Needn't have plus past participle. So it's the opposite meaning to should have. It indicates that something was done, but it wasn't necessary. Okay, so the person who did it thought it was necessary, but it wasn't necessary. So here, look, you needn't have bought more milk. We've got too much, but thank you anyway. Okay, suppose somebody bought a lot of milk and it was not necessary, and you can say that, oh, you needn't have bought more milk. Okay, now, might, may, and could have, they fall in the same category. They are all modals for speculation, right? And they mean that something is probable, but I'm not sure. Okay. So here we have might, may, could have plus past participle, the same idea. Use them to say that something was possible in the past, but we are not sure. Just like I said, example, I think I saw Sally at the cinema. Sorry, guys, about the noise. I think I saw Sally at the cinema, but I might have been wrong. It was very dark. So if it was very dark, you can't tell. All right, guys. So I think I saw Sally at the cinema, but I may have been wrong. It's also good. Or I think I saw Sally at the cinema, but I could have been wrong. Okay, so might, may, and could, when I talk about past situations I'm not really sure about and I want to speculate about it, I can use them because it's something that, yes, it's possible, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Might, could have. Here we have a separate category with might and could have plus past participle. We use them to say that something was possible in the past, but we know that it didn't in fact happen. Example, if Mary hadn't been there, my son might have fallen down and hurt himself. He was so lucky. So I understand this as the same group, basically, okay? Because might have and could have is also a possibility. I don't know for sure, but it might have happened. Usually, here they are talking about something dangerous, like a risky situation. Like, for example, here they say, if Mary hadn't been there, my son might have fallen down and hurt himself. Thank God she was there. Okay. For example, that singer, MC Kevin, remember that? he fell from a balcony in Baja, right, in a hotel. So we could say like that. If he hadn't drunk and used drugs, he might have been saved, or he might have not jumped from the balcony, or he might have not tried to jump from one balcony to another, because that was the situation, right? So if he hadn't drunk and used drugs, he might not have jumped from one balcony to another, or he might not have tried to jump. Okay, guys? So it's like we're imagining a different hypothetical situation, what might or could have happened. Okay?
Teacher,
Yes, Danilo.
when, for example, quando alguma coisa acontece que você fala assim, ah, isso não poderia ter acontecido, que, tipo, é muito ruim.
Mhm.
Tipo assim, você quer... Se você tá atrasado para chegar no lugar, e daí você pega e se suja. Você fala, ah, isso não poderia ter acontecido, mas cabe nessas expressões?
Yes, of course. In this case here, you're talking about the first case, can't have, okay? Or this couldn't have
Ah,
happened. Or oh no, okay, I'm dirty now. I
ok.
have to go back home, change, and then try to go to work again. Oh, this couldn't have happened. Okay, that's the idea. It's something that probably happened, but you don't believe, you don't want to believe, because it's something very bad. Like here, for
Ah,
example,
ok.
look, he can't have fallen in love with her. She's married. Okay.
Ok.
So that's totally bad. That's something really, really. Hi, Yago. Good to see you. Hi, dear. Welcome. All
Thank
right,
you.
guys.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes,
Okay.
that's okay. All right, people. So let's minimize this one here and get another one. I also posted these images for you. Okay, guys, it's posted for you there. Let me share this one here. Look. Okay, guys. So here we have some other examples using modals in the past. The formula is the same, okay? The modal verb plus auxiliary verb have plus past participle, okay? So here in the beginning, we have using would have. So when I talk about past unreal actions or situations, we can use that, especially in the third conditional. As you can see here, look, let me try to make it a little bigger so you can see better. Just a second. Okay, can you see better now? Yeah? So look, if I had guessed the future, I would have taken some precautions against what would happen. So here, this against is wrong, okay? Let me correct that. It's a typo, okay, for sure. So there is, oh, beautiful. So let me just, there is no I here, against, okay? So there's no I in the middle of an and as, okay? Anyway, if I had guessed the future, this is the past perfect, okay? I would have taken some precautions. Here it's enough, okay? So for example, if MC Kevin hadn't drunk or used drugs, he wouldn't have tried to jump from one balcony to another, okay? If he hadn't been drunk, or if he hadn't used drugs, or if he hadn't followed his friend's advice, he wouldn't have tried to jump from one balcony to another, and then he wouldn't have died. okay? So as you can see, guys, we are speculating about something that already happened. There is nothing we can do to change, but we are making comments about it. Okay, Danilo, all right? If he had listened to his mother, for example, about the same person, if MC Kevin had listened to his mother, he wouldn't have gone to that hotel with his friends in the first place, only with his wife. Okay, if he had listened to his mother, he wouldn't have tried to do all the crazy things he did. All right. Anyway, could have past unreal ability or past unreal possibility. He could have taken the flight. This is something that I don't want to really um, focus only on ability, but possibility is better, okay? I would change this word here and I would put possibility instead, okay? Past unreal possibility. Um, I'm just making comments about it. He didn't take the flight, he missed, and and then he arrived late for his job interview. So he could have taken the flight, but unfortunately, he was late. He woke up late, for example. Okay. May have past unreal possibility. So the same idea, guys. Could, may, and might, they are the same. What changes here is the degree of possibility. Could and may are more um, possible. Might, it's more far-fetched. Okay, it's like something that's not really possible. It's there is a small possibility like they put here. Okay, so past unreal, small probability. So let's see the example with May. He may have passed the math exam, but it was in Spanish. He may have passed. Or I could say here, he could have passed. I could also change, instead of using may, I could have used could. The same sense, okay, people? We could have passed the math exam, but it was in Spanish. Now here, with might have, you might have sold the car if you really needed the money, okay? So here, there is a mistake in the punctuation there already. We don't put a stop here after the first sentence. And here, actually, there is no punctuation in this sentence, to be honest. Here, there is no punctuation because you are beginning with the second clause, not the first. When you start the sentence with if you really needed the money, then you put a comma. You might have sold the car. Then it's okay. But when you do the other way around, when you start with the other clause, not the conditional clause, but the main clause, then there is no need for punctuation here, okay? So you might have sold the car if you really needed the money. And this is not capital letter. Wow. A lot of mistakes. Anyway, guys, I focused on the modals in the past and I didn't really notice the little details here. But just for you to have an idea that could have, may have, and might have speculates about the past possibilities or probabilities, right? Now, should have, it's usually past unreal recommendation. That's okay. Yes, usually I say that when I'm saying that something should have been different. Okay, example, you should have listened to the teacher. You didn't listen, but you should have listened. Okay, talking about the same person, Mr. MC Kevin, he should have listened to his mother. He should have listened to his mother. Okay. All right, must have, past unreal assumption. Must have, guys, is when you are absolutely or almost absolutely sure. So then you make a deduction, okay? For example, we must have been crazy. We must have been crazy because we did all those things, right? We drank a lot, we did some drugs, and then we jumped in the waterfall. We must have been crazy. Okay, guys, that's the conclusion. All right, people. The negative here, when something they forgot to put here, one more, which is the best unreal assumption in the negative, we use couldn't have. Is similar to must. Must have is affirmative. The negative we do with couldn't have. Okay, so suppose a guy decides to distribute money to people in the streets, but in a large amount. He gets a big bag, puts a lot of money in there, and goes out in the street giving out all his money to people in the streets. So somebody may say, oh, he couldn't have been crazy. Then we say something affirmative. Oh, he must have been, I don't know, converted to a religion, or he must have had a vision of God saying that he has to give all his possessions to poor people. But he couldn't have been something, okay? He couldn't have been crazy. Um, he couldn't have been in drugs, for example. That since we are in the same topic, we can say, oh no, he couldn't have been in drugs. He couldn't have been doped or anything because he was doing it. He must have seen some kind of saint or angel telling him that he should do that, and then he just followed. You know, guys, so we also have affirmative for sure and negative for sure, okay? And he also, here they also missed can't have when we don't believe something was possible in the past. Okay, guys, so there are two modal verbs here they missed. Can't have and couldn't have, okay, in the past. So let's minimize here. Let's go back to our book, page 76. Yes, are you all there? Yes, good. So here we did the first three exercises. Let's go now to number 4, okay? Look, I had to work hard when I was in school. So here, guys, it's totally positive. I'm talking about obligation in the past. So like you saw here, sorry, in number 1, when we talk about obligation in the past, we don't use must, we use had to. So here, I'm not speculating. I'm just saying something that was a fact. So I had to work hard when I was in school, period. Okay? Here, this one here doesn't make any sense. Okay? Number 5, you can't have said or you shouldn't have said anything to Pam about her birthday party. It was going to be a surprise. So probably you said something, so you shouldn't have said. Okay, so I'm giving you a kind of reprimand, or I'm saying that you did something that wasn't okay, and now I'm talking about it, right? And then you say, oh, you shouldn't have said anything about it. We were planning a surprise party. Okay, guys. Number 6, you shouldn't have bought or couldn't have bought a new vacuum cleaner. I managed to fix the old one. So here we could put, sorry, you shouldn't have bought or you needn't have bought. Remember, that wasn't necessary because I managed to fix the old one. So since we have only two options, shouldn't have and couldn't have, if I use couldn't have bought, the idea of couldn't have is something that I don't believe was true in the past. Something was not possible, and I don't want to believe it. And here, that's not the idea. The idea is that it wasn't necessary, and you did it. Okay? So you shouldn't have bought. Number 7, you should have asked me earlier. I would have given you a ride. So here, it's like a condition, it's like a conditional. If you had asked me earlier, I would have given you a ride, but you didn't ask me, so you should have asked. Okay, it's the same idea of um, making a comment about something that happened, but it wasn't the way you expected. So you were showing that, oh, you shouldn't have asked, you should have asked me earlier. I would have given you a ride. I might have given is something that is less probable. And here, no, I want to say that it was totally possible, um, giving you a ride. So if you just had asked me, I would have given. Okay, so you should have asked. Number 8, you can't have done your homework. You only started 5 minutes ago. That's very good. Here, guys, is the moment when I don't believe something happened. It's like, oh my God, how's that possible? No way. You can't have done that. Okay. You just started 5 minutes ago. How come you finished? Okay, so you can't have done that. Like I said before, when I use the negative about something that wasn't possible in the past, I don't believe it was possible, I have to use can't have. Number 9, you could have told me that class had been canceled. I wouldn't have gotten up so early. So here, I'm talking about a possibility in the past, that the person had, but the person didn't do it. So listen, you could have told me that class had been canceled. Why didn't you tell me? You could. So here, must have told me. This is when I make a deduction that the person must have told me. It's not obligation. Must have, guys, doesn't talk about obligation. It talks about deduction in the past. It's like, you told me and I totally believe that, but I forgot. Oh, you must have told me, but I totally forgot. Okay? Here it's not the case. The case is the person didn't tell you, and then you say that the person could have told. Okay, so, oh, you could have told me that class had been canceled. I wouldn't have gotten up so early. Okay, guys. Number 10, you were lucky to get out of the car unharmed. You could have been badly hurt. So here I'm talking about possibility in the past. There was a car accident. You left the car unharmed, no injuries. And I'm just speculating. Imagine with this accident, wow, you could have been badly hurt. But thank God you are okay. Okay. So if you haven't got all the answers, here you go. You have everything there. Okay. Yes, guys. Have you taken notes?
Yes.
Yes? Good. Thank you.
Teacher,
Yes.
I only didn't understand the two.
Number
Number two.
two. Okay, let's
Yeah.
see there. Okay. I looked for Pearl. Pearl is a person.
Yeah.
Okay. But I couldn't find her. Here, the idea is not speculation. If it were speculation, then I would use I couldn't have found her. So when I say I couldn't have found her, I'm saying that I don't believe I found her because she was hidden in a place that nobody would ever imagine. So she was in such a hidden place that I couldn't have found her. Suppose,
Uh,
okay? That's the idea.
okay.
That's the idea. Suppose Pearl is your dog. It can also be, right? Suppose Pearl is not a person, but a
Yeah.
very small dog, a tiny dog. And this dog disappeared. And you looked all over the house for your dog. You looked everywhere. And then by the end of the day, you discovered or you learned that your dog was at your neighbor's. She managed to escape and she was there with your neighbor all the time. He didn't tell you, but she was there. He would tell you maybe later when he arrived because he wasn't there. So probably she was hiding in his house somehow. So then, when your neighbor, let's imagine, when your neighbor arrives from work, he sees the dog there and then he goes, "Hey, that's Pearl, Danilo's dog. Let me call Danilo." So then he sends you a message and says, "Danilo, I have your dog. She's here." And then you say, "Oh, I couldn't have found her in my house because impossible. She wasn't there. All the
Okay.
time she was out." Okay? So a situation like that, then you couldn't have. It was impossible, right? Now, the first one, no. The first one, when you use the modal verb plus a verb in the infinitive form, you were talking about another idea, not speculating, okay? You were saying that, oh, I couldn't find her. I looked for Pearl, but I couldn't find her. I'm just saying that I wasn't able to find her, okay?
Okay.
Just that, but not that it was impossible for me to find. No, I'm just saying that I didn't find her. I looked, but I couldn't find, and she's still missing. Your neighbor doesn't know about your dog. Nobody knows. She's gone. Okay, all right. It's different. One idea means it's more like a fact in the present. The second one is more actually you were talking about something you did. You looked for her and you couldn't find her. So the other one, it's more like a speculation, really. It's when you make a deduction, okay? Oh, I couldn't have found her in the house, okay? It's impossible. She wasn't in the house. She was at my neighbor's, okay? All right, Danilo. So
All
here,
right.
let's see the next one. Look, complete the sentences with a modal verb in the past. So I will play the audio for you and then you listen, see if you understand the reason for these exercises, and then I'll let you copy the answers, okay? Listen up.
No. Okay.
Just a second, guys. Let me turn on the sound. Is everything okay, Iago? Yes?
Can you show all the exercise? Like,
Yes,
uh,
sure. Okay, let me just take another picture here. Just a moment. I'm taking another picture just in case, okay? Just a second. Yes, there you go, Iago. Can you see now?
yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Can I play the audio? Yes? Okay, now listen, guys.
Track 5. 1.
I did tell you about Joe's party. You can't have been listening.
2.
Thanks so much for all your help. I couldn't have managed without you.
Guys, notice that some words are not on the screen here because they don't fit in the box, right? So the first one, you can't have been listening, okay? Because if you just see the first part like this, it may be missing some words, all right? So pay attention to this. I did tell you about Joe's party. You can't have been listening. Okay, so here, this one is all right. Just couldn't have, right? Thanks so much for your help. I couldn't have managed without you. Okay.
3.
Flowers for me? That's so nice, but really you shouldn't have.
Here, you shouldn't have bought, but you can make it short and just say shouldn't have, okay? It's very common, guys, when somebody gives you a present, then you feel so flattered, and then you say, oh, thank you so much. You shouldn't have, okay? In Portuguese, we say that a lot, but we use a little different expression. But we also say that when we are receiving a gift and we are like a little embarrassed. We are super grateful and you say, oh, that wasn't necessary. That's more or less what we say in Portuguese. Okay, guys. But in English, they say, oh, you really shouldn't have. Okay, next one.
4.
Come on, we're only 5 minutes late. The movie won't have started yet.
Here we have the future. Look, the movie won't have started yet. So they are speculating about the future. You see how nice, guys? They are using a modal verb, then the auxiliary verb have, and the past participle of the main verb. They are speculating that they are only 5 minutes late. So they don't believe the movie will have started by the time they get there. Okay? All right.
5.
I don't believe that Kathy's going out with Mark. She'd have told me. I know she would.
So here, this is something I'm just guessing, right? So I don't believe Kathy's going out with Mark. She'd have told me. I know she would. So
Teacher.
if, yes, Danilo.
This is would have.
Yes, would have. Yes. Okay. So
Would
here,
have is like could have.
yes, the only
I
idea,
know.
yeah, it's different. It's different because when I say she could have told me, it's because I was expecting her to tell me and she didn't. And then I say, oh, she could have told me. Okay, but in this case here, she's not really saying that um, your friend kept the information. I'm just saying that here she would have told me because she's my best friend. She tells me everything. So of course, if she really had been going out with Mark, she would have told me. I believe in that.
Ah, ok.
It's different, okay? It's something totally different. The idea of could have is totally different from would have, okay? Could have is probability. Would have is something for sure, okay? So I know she would have told me. I know she would. Look, she even repeats here. Look, I know she would. Okay. Now number 6. Let's check it out.
6. We raced to get to the airport on time, but we shouldn't have worried. The flight was delayed.
Okay, look. We raced to get to the airport on time, but we shouldn't have worried. The flight was delayed. So they did everything possible to get to the airport on time. But then what happened? The flight was delayed. So they shouldn't have worried. Okay? That was unnecessary. They shouldn't have worried. Okay, guys? Number 7.
7.
We have a letter here that isn't for us. The mail carrier must have delivered it by mistake.
Okay, here we have a deduction in the past, right? Look, we have a letter here that isn't for us. The mail carrier must have delivered it by mistake. That's for sure. It was a mistake. So I make a deduction. Must have and then past participle. Okay?
8. You shouldn't have gone swimming in such rough waters. You could have drowned.
So look, you shouldn't have gone swimming in such rough waters. So unfortunately, you went swimming and it was very dangerous. So I'm just kind of giving you a kind of advice, like a delayed advice. I'm saying something that shouldn't have happened, but unfortunately it did. So I'm saying, oh, you shouldn't have gone swimming in such rough waters. You could have drowned. Look, possibility. You could have died. You could have drowned. Okay, so this was totally possible. Okay, guys, that's the end. So let's listen to that one more time. And now this time, focus on how they pronounce these modal verbs in the past. Okay, take a look.
Track 5. 1.
I did tell you about Joe's party. You can't have been listening.
2.
Thanks so much for all your help. I couldn't have managed without you.
3.
Flowers for me? That's so nice, but really you shouldn't have.
4.
Come on, we're only 5 minutes late. The movie won't have started yet.
5.
I don't believe that Kathy's going out with Mark. She'd have told me. I know she would.
6.
We raced to get to the airport on time, but we shouldn't have worried. The flight was delayed.
7.
We have a letter here that isn't for us.
The mail carrier must have delivered it by mistake.
8. You shouldn't have gone swimming in such rough waters. You could have drowned.
Okay, guys, is everything all right? Yes? Great. So let's take a look at this story here. Look, read and listen to one half of a telephone conversation. Who is Robert talking to? So make deductions about the people. So let's see the first speech bubble here. They must have had a summer romance. This is one guess, right? One speculation. Samantha could be Donna's sister. This is another speculation for now, okay? So as you can see here, we have Robert and Donna. When you see letter D, it's because it's Donna speaking, but we won't listen to her talk. We will only listen to Robert, okay? And according to their conversation, according to what Robert says, we will try to make some deductions about what happened, who Dana was in relation to Robert, what they are talking about. Okay, so we should speculate about it. So let's listen.
Track 6. Hello? This is Robert. Sorry, Donna who? I'm sorry, I don't think I know any Donnas. On vacation? We did? Where was that? Miami! Oh, yes, of course. Donna and Samantha from Wisconsin. That was years ago. Well, thank you. Yeah, Dan and I had fun too. Well, what a surprise. What are you up to these days? Here? What are you doing here? Wow, really? That's ambitious. Well, obviously I'd love to see you both again, but actually it's not really very... Yes, I know we said that, but Dan lives in Chicago now, and my apartment isn't very big, and my wife and... About 4 years ago, and we're about to move to a bigger place. We're expecting another baby. I'm glad you understand. Maybe we could meet for dinner for old time's sake? Maybe you're right. Well, it was nice to hear your voice again, Donna. Give my best to Samantha, and I'll tell Dan that you got in touch. Enjoy your trip. Thanks, Donna. Same to you. Bye.
Wow, that's interesting, isn't it? So, who do you think Donna is?
She must have been someone he had a meeting or something in the past, like some years ago.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, probably somebody he met, especially
Yeah.
here when on vacation. Yeah, very good. When they were on vacation, he probably met this person. And also Samantha, right? They were both from Wisconsin. Good, very good. And then we are going to see some other questions about the story, okay? So let's try to go over here. Just a second. Oh no, that's not on this page, sorry. It's right here. Yes. So here, in pairs, discuss what you think Donna is saying and act out the conversation. So we're not really going to do this in pairs, but I'm going to show you the real conversation they had, and then you're going to see if your guesses were right, right? If she was maybe a sweetheart from the past or somebody he just went out with during the summer. Okay, so let's check it out.
Track 7. Hello,
Hi, can I speak to Robert Johnson, please?
This is Robert.
Hi, Bob. It's me, Donna.
Sorry, Donna who?
Donna Goldberg.
I'm sorry, I don't think I know any Donnas.
You do. We met on vacation
On vacation? We did? Where was that?
in Miami. My friend Samantha and I were staying in the same hotel.
Miami! Oh, yes, of course. Donna and Samantha from Wisconsin. That was years ago.
It was actually almost 10 years ago, but Samantha and I still talk about it. We had a great time, didn't we? You and your friend Dan were such great guys.
Well, thank you. Yeah, Dan and I had fun too. Well, what a surprise. What are you up to these days?
Well, I'm here in Seattle right now.
Here? What are you doing here?
Well, Samantha and I are on vacation together again, and this time we're going to drive down the West Coast from Washington State down to California.
Wow, really? That's ambitious.
Yeah, and we're starting right here in Seattle, so we wondered if we could come and visit. Maybe hang out for a couple of days. It'd be great to catch up.
Well, obviously, I'd love to see you both again, but actually, it's not really very.
But you said we could visit if we were ever in Seattle. And here we are.
Yes, I know we said that, but Dan lives in Chicago now, and my apartment isn't very big, and my wife and.
Bobby, are you married now? That's so cool. When did you get married?
About 4 years ago, and we're about to move to a bigger place. We're expecting another baby.
Bob, I see. No problem. Samantha and I understand. New baby, new home.
I'm glad you understand. Maybe we could meet for dinner for old time's sake?
I'm not sure your wife would be too happy.
Maybe you're right. Well, it was nice to hear your voice again, Donna. Give my best to Samantha, and I'll tell Dan that you got in touch. Enjoy your trip.
Thank you, Robert. Have a nice life.
Thanks, Donna. Same to you. Bye.
Okay, guys. So was it what you expected? Yes? Yeah, these things happen, right? Sometimes people from the past try to get in touch and then your life is so different, right? Has it ever happened to you? Have you ever had it?
Times.
Sorry?
So many times.
Oh, really, Carlos?
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens, right? Sometimes people get in touch and you're living in a different situation with different people. You're seeing other people, and yeah, that's life. Okay, guys, so let's move on to the next page here. That's page number 77. We will see here some expressions with modals, okay? So there are many fixed expressions with modal auxiliary verbs often found in spoken English. So we are going to see that besides speculating about the past, besides making comments about the past, we can also use modal verbs in some expressions, okay, in everyday conversations. So let's take a look at the first one. I did the first part and I want you to do the second so you know how to do it, all right? So let's see. The first one. That exam was ridiculously hard. So you can say that again. So do you know the meaning of this expression? You can say that again. Two people talking, okay? One person says this, the other person goes and says, oh, you can say that again. What does that mean? Suppose you have you are doing a test at school, okay? And then you leave the room at the same time with another classmate, and in your opinion, the exam was very difficult. Then you say, oh, that exam was ridiculously hard. Then your classmate who left the test with you says, oh, you can say that again. So what's the meaning?
He agreed with me.
Yes, exactly. It's a way to agree. It's not that you are asking the person to repeat. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's just a way to say that, yeah, you are absolutely right. Okay? It's just an expression. So let me. Okay. The next one, you might as well apply for the job, even though you're too young. Yes, why not? After all, there is nothing to lose. So here, you might as well. This is the expression with the modal verb. When I say that, what's the meaning of the situation?
You should try.
Yes, very good. That's it, okay? And then he takes the advice and he says, yes, why not? After all, there's nothing to lose, right? So that's good. All right. Number 3, I know I shouldn't have eaten a whole carton of ice cream. So here, I'm just talking about something that I did and now I feel sorry, okay? So look, but I just couldn't help it. So here we have another expression. What is the meaning of I just couldn't help it?
I couldn't avoid do
Yes,
something.
very good, excellent. It was too strong. The temptation was too strong. I couldn't avoid it. Exactly, Iago. That's the idea. So you say, oh, I know, but I just couldn't help it. Okay, if you try to translate word by word, you will not get the right idea. Okay, you have to understand the expression as a whole. Okay. Number 4, I'm going to tell her exactly what I think of her. Ooh. So letter E. I wouldn't do that if I were you. So this is nice, especially when I'm using a conditional sentence to say that, oh, if I were you, I wouldn't do that. You are giving advice in a different way. Instead of using shouldn't, you are saying, I wouldn't do that. If I were in your shoes, if I were you, I wouldn't do that. Okay. And number 5, you should have told me that Jackie and Dave had broken up. So here the person is talking about a past situation. That's why the person is saying should have told, okay? When I'm making comments about the past. Oh, you should have told me that Jackie and Dave had broken up. Wow, sorry about that. That was a motorcycle. Sorry, I thought you knew. Sorry, I thought you knew. Okay, so you should have told me. Usually the pronunciation here is shortened. We say, oh, you should have told me. You should have. You should have. Okay. All right, here we have some modal expressions. Now it's up to you guys. It's 11:47, so let's see. 3 minutes. Try to see that in 3 minutes. See if you can do numbers 6 to 10. You know what to do, okay? Go ahead. All right, guys, let's see. What have you done? Number 6, guys, let's check out. What do you think? Number 6 goes with which letter? I think you should forget all about her and move on.
Believe me, I would if I could.
All right, good. Great. Number 7. So here we have modal verbs used in an expression. I would if I could. Okay, that's a nice expression. Number 7, guys, what do you have there? You should have been here yesterday. You would have died laughing.
Why?
Why? What's so funny?
Yes, that's right. Very good. Number 8. Then I found out that Amy's been going out with, guess who? Dave.
Oh, but I could have told you that.
Okay. All right. Number 9. I'd known this guy for 5 minutes when he asked me to marry him.
I just couldn't believe it.
Okay. I could use a break.
Me too.
I'm dying for coffee. Now let's listen and check all the answers before we go for coffee, okay?
Track 8.
1. That exam was ridiculously hard.
You can say that again. I couldn't answer a single question. I'm sure I failed.
2.
You might as well apply for the job, even though you're too young.
Yes, why not? After all, there's nothing to lose. You never know. I might be just the person they're looking for.
3.
I know I shouldn't have eaten a whole carton of ice cream, but I just couldn't help it. And of course, now my stomach hurts.
4.
I'm going to tell her exactly what I think of her.
I wouldn't do that if I were you. You have no idea how she'll react. It could get really nasty.
5.
You should have told me that Jackie and Dave had broken up. I felt really stupid when I asked Jackie where they were going on vacation.
Sorry, I thought you knew. Everybody else does.
6.
I think you should forget all about her and move on.
Believe me, I would if I could, but I just can't get her out of my mind. I think it must be love.
Oh, no.
7.
You should have been here yesterday. You would have died laughing.
Why? What was so funny?
Well, Pedro was imitating the teacher, and he was so good. And then the teacher walked in.
8.
Then I found out that Annie's been going out with, guess who? Dave.
Huh, I could have told you that. It's common knowledge. Where have you been?
9.
I'd known this guy for 5 minutes when he asked me to marry him. I just couldn't believe it. Maybe he proposes marriage to every girl he meets.
10.
I could use a break.
Me too. I'm dying for coffee. It feels like this class has been going on forever.
Okay, guys, so let's have a break then, right? Let's follow the advice. Let's have like 10 minutes for break. Now it's 11:55. Let's go until 12:05. All right, that makes 10. And then we come back. We are going to finish this page. Let me zoom out so you see what the page is all about here. We've done modal verbs so far, modal verbs for speculation and expressions with modals, okay? And then we are going to see what went wrong here. All right, so we will finish that. Okay, let's have a break then. Now 12:06, now it's 11:56. Let's make it 10. All right, people, so see you in 10 minutes. All right, so we are doing now number 6 from page 77, okay? So here we have a situation, as you can see, where a car sunk in the river, and as they were trying to cross, actually, because the part of the road was flooded in reality, so it's not really a river, but it was a kind of flood, and they tried to cross it. One car did, but the other one didn't. And then this guy is in a very dire situation, trying to move his car out of the swamp here. So here, they want us to imagine difficult situations, right? Or an occasion in life where when everything went wrong. We've all had these, right? And then we should make some comments, or your friends can make some comments about it. Here we have some examples, right? Suppose you had been in this situation, okay? So one may say, oh, couldn't you have called the tow truck, or couldn't you have, because here they are in the middle of nowhere, so probably there was no tow truck available. You could say that, oh, couldn't you have called tow truck or your insurance company just to help you take the car out of the flood? Or why didn't you wait until the water receded so you could cross safely? Or why didn't you try another way if possible? Okay. You must have been terrified. This is a nice comment as well, that you're showing sympathy when you say that, oh, that must have been really hard. You must have been terrified. Next one, oh, maybe you could have tied a rope here and then asked your friend in the red car to pull your car out of the water with this rope. Okay, if you tie both cars with a rope, maybe you could have um, lifted your car or taken your car out of the water. Okay, don't you think you should have avoided this situation? Don't you think you should have maybe chosen a different route or waited for the water to go down? Okay, so many possibilities, many comments. After something has happened, you can make comments about it, right? Of course, we can't change the situation, but we can speculate what might have happened, what the person should have done, right? So does anybody here have any experience or any situation when everything went wrong that you'd like to share with the class? No? Okay, guys, no problem. You can think about it. If you come up with a situation, if you remember something, then you can write down, take some notes, and share with your classmates next week, next class, okay? No problem. All right, people, we are not going to do this final one here because this is something that we need cards to do and extra material. So we are not doing this speaking part. Who did it? We are going straight on to our next topic, which is our final topic of today. Okay, so let's go there. Page 78, the Vikings. This is very nice, especially for those of you who like history, who like playing games online or games in general, because the Vikings, they're always there, right? There are many movies about the Vikings. What do you know about the Vikings, guys? Have you ever heard of these guys?
One thing that I read about them, I don't know if it's true, but it's that the women were really respected between them.
Excellent. That's true. Yes, that's really true. There are a lot of misconceptions also about the Vikings, things that we believe today, but they were not actually true. Here we have some definitions that are usually associated with the Vikings, that they were raiders, traders, and intrepid explorers, right? So let's take a look. I separated here a short video with some
Teacher,
misconceptions. Yes, Danilo.
I don't know what is the name, but they in films and other things that Vikings are, they use something in your head.
Oh, what they wear?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I like this. I like the pictures. They all have symbols on it. It's really nice. But yeah, they used to wear something on their heads. That's true. That's really good. That's really good. So thank you, Danilo. Let's take a look at some misconceptions about the Vikings, right? Some things that nowadays people believe when they hear Vikings, but they are not really true. So let's take a look at some misconceptions here. Here we have 10, all right? So let's take a look there. Let me just share the sound. I hope the connection is okay, even though it doesn't really seem so good. But let's try to see as much as we can. Okay, let's go.
Elite Facts presents 10 misconceptions about Vikings. 10. Big and blonde. The misconception here is that Vikings were all big and blonde. The Vikings are often shown as big, bulging guys with long blonde hair, but historical records show that the average Viking man was about 170 centimeters, or 5 foot 7 inches tall, which was not especially tall for the time. Blonde hair was seen as ideal in the Viking culture, and many Nordic men bleached their hair with a special soap. But the Vikings were great at absorbing people, and many people who had been kidnapped as slaves became part of the Viking population in time. So in Viking groups, you would probably find Italians, Spaniards, Portuguese, French, and Russians. A very diverse group built around a core of Vikings from a particular region, say southern Denmark or the Oslo Fjord. 9. Misconception: the Vikings were a nation. The Vikings were not one nation, but different groups of warriors, explorers, and merchants led by a chieftain. During the Viking Age, Scandinavia was not separated into Denmark, Norway, and Sweden as it is today. Instead, each chieftain ruled over a small area. The word Viking does not refer to any one location, but is the Old Norse word for a person participating in an expedition to sea. 8. Wild, dirty people. The misconception here is that Vikings were all dirty, wild-looking people. In many movies and cartoons, the Vikings are shown as dirty, wild-looking, savage men and women, but in reality, the Vikings were quite vain about their appearance. In fact, combs, tweezers, razors, and ear spoons are among some of the most frequent artifacts from Viking Age excavations. These same excavations have also shown that the Vikings made soap. In England, the Vikings living there even had a reputation for excessive cleanliness because of their custom of bathing once a week, on Saturday. To this day, Saturday is referred to as Lørdagur, or washing day in the Scandinavian languages, though the original meaning is lost in modern speech in most cases. However, log does still mean bath or pool in Icelandic. 7. Hometown. Another common misconception is that the Vikings lived only in Scandinavia. The Vikings did originate from the Scandinavian countries, but over time they started settlements in many places, reaching as far as North Africa, Russia, Constantinople, and even North America. There are different theories about the motives driving the Vikings' expansion, the most common of which is that the Scandinavian population had outgrown the agricultural potential of their homeland. Another theory is that the old trade routes of Western Europe and Eurasia experienced a decline in profitability when the Roman Empire fell in the 5th century, forcing the Vikings to open new trade routes in order to profit from international trade. 6. Crude weapons. The misconception here is that the Vikings used crude, unsophisticated weapons. Vikings are often shown with crude, unsophisticated weapons such as clubs and crude axes. But the Vikings were actually skilled weaponsmiths. Using a method called pattern welding, the Vikings could make swords that were both extremely sharp and flexible. According to Viking sagas, one method of testing these weapons was to place the sword hilt first in a cold stream and float a hair down to it. If it cut the hair, it was considered a good sword. 5. Hated by their peers. Here's another misconception. Vikings were hated everywhere. One could imagine that the Vikings were hated everywhere because of their raids, but it seems that they were also respected by some. The French King Charles III gave the Vikings the land they had already settled on in France, or Normandy, and he even gave his daughter to the Viking chief Rollo. In return, the Vikings protected France against wilder Vikings. Also in Constantinople, the Vikings were acknowledged for their strength, so much so that the Varangian Guard of the Byzantine emperors in the 11th century was made up entirely of Swedish Vikings. 4. Bloodthirsty. The misconception here is that Vikings were unusually bloodthirsty and barbaric. The Viking raids were indeed very violent, but it was a violent age, and the question is whether non-Viking armies were any less bloodthirsty and barbaric. For instance, Charlemagne, who was the Vikings' contemporary, virtually exterminated the whole people of the Avars. At Verdun, he ordered the beheading of 4,500 Saxons. What really made the Vikings different was the fact that they seemed to take special care to destroy items of religious value, Christian monasteries and holy sites, and kill churchmen, which earned them quite a bit of hatred in a highly religious time. The Vikings probably enjoyed the reputation they had. People were so scared of them that they often fled from their cities instead of defending them when they saw a Viking ship coming near.
3.
Skull cups. Another common misconception about Vikings is that they drank from skull cups. Admittedly, this is probably one of the funnier stereotypes. I mean, a lot of people have made jokes about drinking the finest wine from the skull of their enemies at some point to be overly dramatic. The origin of this legend is Old Worm's Reunir Seu Danica Literatura Antiquissima from 1666, in which he writes that Danish warriors drank from the curved branches of skulls, i.e. horns, pictured here, which was probably mistranslated in Latin to mean human skulls. The fact is, however, no skull cups have ever been found in excavations from the Viking Age.
2.
Pillage. Here's another misconception about Vikings. They are said to have pillaged as their only way of living. It was actually only a very small percentage of the Vikings that were warriors. The majority were farmers, craftsmen, and traders. For the Vikings who took to the sea, pillaging was only one of among many other goals of their expeditions. The Vikings settled peacefully in many places, such as Iceland and Greenland, and were international merchants of their time. They peacefully traded with almost every country of the then-known world.
1.
Helmet style. The misconception here is that Vikings wore helmets with horns. This must be the biggest misconception about Vikings, but the fact remains there are no records of such helmets having ever existed. All depictions of Viking helmets dating to the Viking Age show helmets with no horns, and the only authentic Viking helmet that has ever been found does not have them either. An explanation for the helmet with horns myth is that Christians in contemporary Europe added the detail to make the Vikings look even more barbaric and pagan, with horns like Satan's on their head. It should also be noted that the Norse god Thor wore a helmet with wings on it, which do look somewhat similar to horns.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more elite facts.
You see, guys, how different it was, right? Even the helmet that we now recognize
Elite
as,
facts present
and as being from the Vikings actually was not like that. They never wore helmets with horns, right? This is a misconception. Danilo, you mentioned that, right? So you see, the Vikings, they actually wore some kind of helmets to protect their heads because they were all the time fighting, right? Especially the ones that were warriors. But actually those helmets, they didn't have the horns that we see today. That came later on because the Christians, they believed the Vikings were from Satan. So they believed that, well, to make them look like followers of Satan, they placed two horns on their helmets. So that's why today we have this misunderstood view of the way they wore and even their head accessory. Okay. All right. So let's see, guys, what else didn't you know about the Vikings that you found out during the video? What else did you learn?
That they weren't all blonde guys.
Yes, that they weren't all blonde. That's true. This is another misconception. Yeah. Whenever we watch a movie about the Vikings, They're usually blonde and long haired, but no, not really. Mhm. Another misconception is that they were all thirsty, that they all drank the blood of the people they killed, that kind of stuff. But no, that was not true. So let's see the first question here, guys. When were the Vikings powerful? What three things did they do to, sorry, what three things did they do across the northern world? And how did we find out about their lives? So first of all, yes, they grew to be very powerful. And second, yes, they do many things across the northern world, and it's still very present today in the architecture, the culture, when we visit the Nordic countries. And how did we find out about their lives? Okay, so we're going to read this introduction here, which is this first part here. And then after that, we will see the text, which is this time in a cartoon fashion, okay, like comics fashion, so we can read the story in a better way. Okay, that's really nice. Let's take a look at the introduction first. Okay, so who would like to read the introduction for us? Do we have a volunteer? No? Okay, I can do that. So the year is 793 AD, and this was the petrified cry of the ancient Anglo-Saxons, pleading with their God to save them from the Vikings, or Norsemen. For nearly 300 years, from the 8th to the 11th century AD, this warrior race set out from Scandinavia on raids and voyages of discovery and colonization across the northern world. They
Can I
struck.
continue?
Sorry, can you
Can I
hear
continue?
me? Yes, Iago, do you have a question?
No, can I keep reading for you?
Oh, it's okay. Yes, you can do that. They struck. You can start from here.
Okay. They struck fear in the hearts of the peoples of Europe, but the archaeology of their settlements and the literature of their sagas or sagas, I don't know,
Sagas.
reveal a complex and fascinating culture. They were not only violent raiders and pillagers, they were a lot else besides.
Okay, thank you, Iago. Thank you very much. So first here we see when they lived. So let's highlight the information.
Teacher,
Yes, Kathleen.
what is AD?
Okay, good question. Who knows? Iago, Nathan, you like history.
Sorry,
Sorry, can you repeat, please?
I didn't hear.
Sorry?
I couldn't hear.
Oh,
What did
she
you say?
wants to know the meaning of AD.
Oh, it's Anno Domini, if I'm not mistaken. It's what we call in Portuguese like after Christ. Yes, after Christ.
Okay. All right. Okay. Very good. Actually, that's the year after Jesus Christ. Okay. All right.
Teacher,
Yes, Danilo.
it's because the letter D is of a word that represent an important day. I don't know. I was searching about this, but I don't remember. I will search and I see
Okay. All
better.
right. AD is the short, like Iago said, of Anno Domini, the year of the Lord. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So Anno Domini is a Latin expression that specifies the time after the advent of Christ. So after that, the Catholic Church started counting the calendar based on the advent of Jesus Christ. So then now we are in the year 2021 AD. Okay, that's the year we are living now. Now, the year BC, whenever you see some kind of date from an English text with this um, acronym, it's considered before Christ. So I don't remember now the Latin equivalents to BC, but I know the meaning. So before Christ means BC. So for example, 200 BC. So I know that it's 200 before Christ. Okay, that's how I
Teacher,
understand. Yes, Danilo.
I searched here and Anno Domini mean Ano do Senhor.
Yes, very good. Excellent, Danilo. The year of the Lord, like I said in English. Very good, exactly. Okay, so that's why this story happened around the 8th century. Okay, so 793 AD. And this was the petrified cry of the ancient Anglo-Saxons, right? Pleading with their gods to save them from the Vikings or Norsemen. Norseman was also another name for Vikings, okay? Look, for nearly 300 years from the 8th to the 11th century, okay, look, AD, this warrior race set out from Scandinavia on raids and voyages of discovery and colonization across the northern world. So there were many battles because they wanted to conquer other places outside Scandinavia. And there, like we saw in the video, there were many different groups from other nations, other countries that at the time weren't even nations, right? They were beginning to be a nation, but they were divided. I would see the Vikings as if they were, I don't know, these groups that we have today. Um, I don't know if I could compare them to to an organization today, but they were really classified as very dangerous men. They wanted to conquer, they wanted to explore, but as we saw in the video, there were some other Vikings who wanted to be just farmers. They wanted, of course, to explore, but they wanted to have their own land, right? They were just a little bit violent, okay? But like they said in the video, that time was violent in general, okay? So they lived in a violent time. So, okay, guys, so let's see there. Now, look at the pictures about Viking history. Read through the texts quickly. What else, other than raiders and pillagers, were the Vikings? Do you know the meaning of raiders and pillagers?
Someone who raids a village or steal a place, a city or village, and
Yes,
destroy things.
very good, excellent. They not only destroy, but they also steal things. Yes, that's true. Pillagers and raiders, they invade places they were not invited to. And
They can steal and destroy what they can't steal. Like this.
Yes, exactly. Very good. Okay. So let's take a look at the story, and then after we read, we are going to do number 4. Read the texts again and find information about the Vikings in relation to their work, skills, appearance, religion, trade, brutality, exploration, and settlements. Okay, so let's take a look there. Can you see the page, guys? This is page 79 if you have your books. Okay. The images are amazing. I really like the.
Okay.
Sorry?
Be right back.
Okay, no problem. The illustrations are really good. I love the illustrations. They are very nice. So I will give you some time to read both, to read numbers 1, 2, and 3, and then I will go down because I know some students don't have the book, okay? So take some time to read it. Let's say it's 36, now 37, so 3 minutes so that you can take a look at 1, 2, and 3, okay? All right, guys, can I move down? Okay, we will take a look. Beautiful illustrations. And from the illustrations, you can see that the belief that they were blonde and had green eyes still remains, right? Okay, so let's take a look at number 4 and 5. 2 minutes for that. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, now I'll go down a little bit more to see the other two final parts, 6 and 7. Okay, guys, yes? All right. That was very interesting, wasn't it?
Yes, I'm back, by the way.
Okay, hi, welcome back. So that
Thank
was
you.
really interesting. The story and everything, their customs, their religion, and also their industry, right? They were really industrious and they were excellent navigators, right? So that made them really powerful as they moved from one place to another um, somewhat easily, right? So here, um, that's something that answers the first question. Why were they so powerful? Because first of all, they were good navigators at that time. If you wanted to be powerful, you had to know how to navigate. You had to know that. So the nations or the countries who had good navigators were usually successful because they could trade, they could explore, they could uh, buy things and sell things, trade things easily, and that made them richer and richer. So first of all, that's number one reason why they were successful. Second, they were powerful because they were like kind of violent, right? They did not only trade, they did not only navigate, but they also invaded the places they went to and they killed a lot of people to get what they wanted, right? Except for the ones that only worked as farmers and tended their livestock, the ones who were like more, within their families, but the other ones who were the raiders and the pillagers, they were really violent. So they were respected. People were afraid of them. And as you could see here, let me show you the page here. Look, they would extort protection money as the price of peace. Does it ring a bell? Do you hear anything about it here in Brazil, for example? Is there a group that extorts protection money from people as a price of peace? Do you know any group of explorers that extorts protection money from people nowadays? No, guys, you don't know that.
No, I don't know. Oh, I think not for money, but when Brazil was, how can I say, descoberto?
Discovered.
Yeah, discovered and the England and like help in Brazil, but to get gold.
Yes, okay, that's true. But I'm talking about nowadays. I'm talking about now.
Nations who ask money for protection, like they are paid to protect someone, or
I'm talking, guys, about the militia here in Brazil. The militia, they extort protection money as a price of peace. You pay the militia to be protected somehow. Okay? So,
Yes, that's true. Especially people
Yes.
who has stores like
yes,
in neighborhoods.
yes,
They do that.
exactly. Businesses, any kind of business. If you have a business here in most places in Rio, you have to pay money so nothing happens to your business. Your business is somehow protected. If you don't pay the militia, they destroy your business. Okay? So this is what they did. So you see, this dates back a long time ago. And this at the time was known as Danegeld. That's the name of this habit of extorting protection money as a price of peace because they were so dangerous that they could really destroy the places. So before destruction, they would say, okay, if you give us money, we will not destroy your village. So the people would pay these guys not to be destroyed or not to be killed, and so they would have like protection against other Vikings. So that's that was at the time called Danegeld. Today we just call it a different name. Okay, we use a different name for that. So you see how long this thing exists. Okay. And guys, like in the past, until today, if you don't follow the rules of the militia, they simply eliminate you. If you have any kind of influence, if you have, like, for example, if you want to be a politician, if you want to work for the people, if you don't agree with the militia, they destroy you. Okay? So that's the situation here, guys. Look, here we have. Now, read the texts again and find information about the Vikings in relation to their work. So what kind of work did they do? Okay, so we saw in the text. I know we don't have much time, so I will just show you the answers to that. Let me show you the answers to number 3 first. Okay, this is the answer to number 3 if you want to copy or take a picture. Can I close? Okay. Next one. Now, exercise number 4. Okay. Do you know what blacksmiths are?
Yes, people that make swords and things like that.
Very good. That's it. Okay, everybody. Okay, Danilo. Okay, Nathan, Gabriel, everyone. Blacksmith. Okay, they make swords and also other tools for hunting and also for killing. So they have, at the time, they had what was necessary to survive and be powerful. They had the weapons and they knew how to navigate. Okay. They were excellent shipbuilders as well. This counted a lot in the past. Okay. Yeah, this is not true that they had blonde hair and blue eyes. Okay. The religion, they worshipped a variety of gods. Of course, they were pagans. So they would worship Odin, Thor, Frey. And today we have the influence of their gods on the days of the week. You see how the Christians, they took some parts from different traditions, right? So today we have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Look at their commerce. They traded iron, furs, and grindstones for things they couldn't get at home, like silk, glass, and silver. Do you know what grindstones are? No?
What's this?
Grindstone is a stone used to make the weapons sharper. Okay. So you would sharpen your knife, sharpen your sword on a grindstone. Okay.
Okay.
And
Thank
since you're welcome, they were very good at this. And since they were really good at this, they had good grindstones and they would sell that to people. That was necessary at the time. So in late 8th century, Vikings became more interested in raiding than trading. So then when they got to the end, they changed a little bit their behavior. Instead of trading, they started raiding, okay? They made surprise attacks on European monasteries and demanded protection money. In other words, denegel, in return for peace. You see? So this is exactly when it began, 793. They traveled far and wide. This is something that really helped them grow a lot because they went to many different places, from Britain to Baghdad. You see? And this guy here, he continued sailing west, and that took his family to what we now know as Newfoundland in North America. Look, Eric's eldest son, Leif Erikson, went further west and in 1003 landed in a place he named Vinland today called Newfoundland. A Viking discovered North America, not Christopher Columbus. Yeah, okay. And then here we also understand the reason for the name Greenland up in the north, right? Why did he call that place Greenland? To attract other settlers. But the place is as cold as the North Pole. Okay. You see how interesting, guys. History is amazing. I really like studying history and getting to know their traditions and the story of other people. It's really nice. Finally, people, what did the Vikings do? Match the words in A and B. So I'll just give out the answers. So we have here, look, verbs in the first column, right? And then we have the complements in the second one. So tended, for example. Let me just mark here. Tended, livestock. Livestock is the same as cattle, animals in general that need constant care. So you tended livestock, okay?
No.
Yes, honey.
It's tended is like take care of.
Yes, yes. It's just because for this special task, there is a word, right? Which is like pastorar or pastorear, okay? So in Portuguese, so you tend livestock. So it is totally connected to what you do when you have a number of, I don't know, sheep or cattle in general. You need to tend, you need to tend the cattle. You need to take the cattle to feed, to eat grass, and then you have to take the cattle back to the farm. You are always moving around with the cattle. So this is to tend livestock. Okay?
Okay.
So let's take a look at the other ones. Carved, carved stone. Okay? Traded goods. Goods is the same as products. Okay? To trade goods. To commercialize. Okay? Raided monasteries. So they, unfortunately, they did it. They raided monasteries. They invaded and they stole properties. They stole belongings because they wanted money. They wanted more riches. Worshipped here. Worshipped gods. Okay. Extorted money, settled in many lands, mounted expeditions, and explored far and wide. So that's a very interesting tradition, and it's interesting to know what they did and then what was good and what was bad. It's nice to analyze that. Now, the question that comes now is how and why do you think the power of the Vikings finally ended? Try to find that out. Try to do some research, and then we can share this with the class next week. Why did they finally finish? What happened to them? What can you deduce? You can use that for must. You can use must have, could have, and might have to talk about how they finished, how they were destroyed. Or so here we have one example. We think they must have run out of places to raid. Is that possible?
Maybe they must have been ended by some nation, stronger nation.
Other nation, yeah. Another nation may have destroyed them completely. Maybe, yes. So if you want, and if you have the book, you can read page 160 to see the end of the Viking Age, right? That's interesting. But try to make some guesses before you go to that page, all right? What might have happened to them, we don't know. So we finished all the pages, right? 78, 79. Back to our page here, guys, on Google Classroom, we have the homework assignment, and we also have some extra material with examples of past modals, modals for speculation. So here we have workbook page 62 until 65 and the worksheets. Okay, let me show you. This is very interesting. I like this image a lot. I hope I can show you that. It's really nice. Oh, we can't because of the connection. But make sure, guys, you open these images because they give examples of past modals of speculation or deduction, and they show a very nice illustration, so it's easy to understand. And then you take a look at the other links I gave you here. They have some exercises for you to do in the link. Click there and then you'll find the explanation and then some exercises. Okie dokie, people. So thank you so much for coming. Let me take a final picture now. Let me just go over to gallery here. Let me take a gallery view. Oh, so cute. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Yay. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Iago, Danilo, Kathleen, Nathan, thank you so much. Carlos, thank you. Gabriel, Stair, and João Victor. Just one thing to say before we go, guys. We are going to have the second stop and check after Unit 10. I will give you the stop and check test, which is only a test. There is no writing, no listening. It's just vocabulary and grammar from the unit 7, 8, and 9. Okay, but I want to finish unit 10 first so we don't get late. Okay, I don't want to be delayed. Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry?
Are we going to have a review before that?
Yes, of course. Sure. When I finish with you, when we finish unit 10, we will have a review, one day only for review, so we can remember the topics from unit 7, 8, and 9, and then we have to stop and check. Yes, Danilo.
The skills of the Oxford Learn, it is we have to do or it's only to practice?
Well, you should do. This is something that helps you a lot. The most important things that we ask students to do online are the eye checkers from the units. So since we are now in unit 10, you should try to do units 1 to 9. Since we are going to have a stop and check now after we finish unit 10, it's advisable, it's nice if you can do the eye checker from unit 7, 8, and 9 to practice. It will help you. Okay?
Oh, okay.
All right. And about the workbook, people, it's also very good that Iago is here. I'm trying to find Iago because I don't have the books here with me. So you may have it there in the course. The students are trying to correct their homework from the workbook, but they don't have the answer key. So can you see that for us, Iago? See if you have the answer. Yes, see if you have the answer. Sorry, again.
The B2, I don't think we have Headway for B2 teacher's guide.
Oh, you don't have the teacher's guide for Headway 4?
Yes, we don't. I mean, no, we don't.
That's, yeah, that's the reason why they haven't sent me the answer keys when I asked. They only sent me the answer key to Headway 3. Okay, guys. So,
Headway worksheet.
yeah. So we will have to see another way to get this answer key, okay? So I can send it to you. I'll think of a way. All right, people. Thank you very much for coming, guys. We'll think about it, okay? Thank you, Iago. Thank you, Danilo, Kathleen, everybody else. Thank you so much. Hope to see you again next week. Take care. All right, people. Bye-bye.
See you next
Thank
week,
you,
teacher.
teacher. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye, guys. Take care. See you.
Bye, teacher.
Bye, Danilo. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.